If your child got a new phone, you'd care deeply about what apps get installed. You'd monitor what they download, what they consume, and what they're exposed to. But most parents don't realize something critical. Your child's brain works exactly the same way. It is software, and it's being programmed every single day. So the question is not if it's being programmed, the question is by who? We tend to think of personality as fixed. She's just shy. He's just not disciplined. They're just not focused. But what if those aren't traits? What if they're installed programs? Because here's what we know from neuroscience. The brain wires according to repetition. Whatever is repeated gets strengthened, gets automated, becomes default. So that's not personality, that's programming. Children are installing code every single day through the language that they hear, the feedback that they receive, or the social media they consume, their peers groups, their own internal self-talk. All of it is programming. So when a child repeatedly thinks that I'm bad at this, that's not a thought, that becomes a command line, and the brain optimizes around the command. Here are some of the most common programs that children unknowingly install. I'm not smart. I'm awkward. I'm not creative. I'm not athletic. I'm not leadership material. And I want you to notice something. None of those are temporary statements. They're identity statements. And identity statements act like operating system rules. They're going to determine what risk feels safe, what environments feel threatening, and what goals feel like they're for people like me. So this is why two children with similar intelligence end up on completely different trajectories. One has installed, I figured things out, and the other has, I'm just not good at this. So their default scripts become their adulthood, and they run the programs all the way throughout their lives. I want to tell you about someone that I worked with. He came to me because he was abusing alcohol. Now, this was not because he was weak, nor that he lacked discipline. This man was actually one of the most driven people I'd ever met. He was a national champion at wrestling in high school. He always had to be the best. So perfectionism wasn't a trait for him, it was more of a survival mechanism. Now, somewhere along the way, his brain installed this program that said, the only way up is through destruction. You need to create this low, this feeling of pain, then climb out of it. It worked in wrestling, it got him results. So his brain filed it as truth. Now, fast forward 15 years, he's a grown man running a business, and there's pressure, there's high stakes, and that perfection program is still executing, but now there's no wrestling mat for him. So the destruction loop found a new outlet, alcohol. Now, that's not because he wanted to drink, because his brain needed the low so it could justify the climb. He wasn't weak, he was running a 15 or 16-year-old software in a grown man's life. Now, here's the part that hit me. I knew this program because I had run a version of it myself for many years, and that's why he was sitting across from me and he chose to work with me, because I told him I'd been there and I found a way through. Here's what the downside of perfectionism actually is, because it's not high standards, it's an illusion of control. The perfectionist believes that if they control enough variables, perform well enough, push hard enough, they can control the outcome. But the world doesn't work that way. You can only control yourself. Everything else, other people, timing, circumstances, the market, this is outside of your jurisdiction. And when a perfectionist finally collides with that reality, when the control fails, the program doesn't know what to do. So it does what it was built to do. It destroys, so it can rebuild. Now, that's not a character flaw. It's a program running without an update in the background. The answer from my client wasn't more discipline, a better morning routine, or another performance framework. Those things can help. The answer was surrender. Now, that's not giving up. Surrender is a skill. It's the ability to release what you cannot control and focus entirely on what you can. For him, that meant surrendering to something more powerful than himself, and he chose God. And in that surrender, he found something that perfectionism program can never have given him: peace without the destruction, motivation without the self-sabotage. He found a new source code and a new program. Now, here's why I'm telling you this on a channel dedicated to kids and families. That wrestler was 15 or 16 when this program got installed. And by the time he was sitting across from me, it had been running for 10 to 15 years. 15 years of a teenager's survival code making decisions for a grown man. And that tragedy isn't that the program existed. The tragedy is that no one ever showed he could update it. And right now, your child is installing software. Every experience of pressure, every moment of failure, every response that they learn to give when things get hard, that's being filed and rehearsed. The truth is not whether they're being programmed or not. They are. The question is anyone helping them choose better code? So now you know that your child's brain is like software, and it's updating right now through you, through school, through peers, through the internet. So the most important question isn't what are they good at? It's what are they installing? Because whatever gets installed early runs automatically later. And if we can teach children that they can update their operating system, we don't just improve performance, we future-proof their identity. Upgrade the code, and the performance will follow. If this video shifted something for you, please share it with a parent who needs to hear it too, because the earlier this conversation starts, the earlier a child gets their upgrade. Like this video and subscribe for more.